In the City of London, the heart of the old Roman city, you'll find evidence of pretty much every period in history ever since. Some of the top attractions in London are located here, including the Tower of London. Located beside the spectacular Tower Bridge on the banks of the River Thames, this former palace and prison includes highlights such as the iconic 1,000-year-old White Tower, with its fascinating displays of armor and weaponry, and the Jewel House, home to the crown jewels. If you're a fan of Britain's royal family, you'll want to head to Buckingham Palace, London's royal home since Queen Victoria's reign. Here, you can enjoy the colorful pomp of the changing of the guard or even take a tour of the palace's staterooms. Spaces are limited, so be sure to book in advance as they're only open for a few weeks each year. From here, you can wander along the Thames to the city's Whitehall Road area. Here you'll find Big Ben and the Parliament buildings, as well as Westminster Abbey, the scene of many a royal wedding. One of the UK's most attractive cities, the capital city of Edinburgh, is also one of the UK's most visited destinations. Popular for its many well-preserved historic buildings, Edinburgh is perhaps best known as the home of the majestic Edinburgh Castle. Perched high above the old city on a rocky promontory, this 13th-century royal fortress includes highlights such as the famous 1 o'clock salute, held daily at Half Moon Battery, as well as the Scottish crown jewels in the royal palace. Also worth seeing are the Scottish National War Memorial and the famous Stone of Destiny, the Stone of Scone, which only returned to Scotland after being held for 700 years in London. From the castle, it's easy to explore the other most important historic sites in the city. Follow your nose downhill from the castle to the Old Town via the famous Royal Mile, a delightful medieval cobbled street that's immensely fun to walk. Sure, there are plenty of the usual tacky tourist and souvenir shops, but skip these and look out for the area's fine old architecture, boutique shops, cafes, and restaurants, as well as trendy art galleries and studios. Although one of the UK's smaller cities, Bath more than makes up for its diminutive size with a multitude of things to see and do. Named after its famous Roman baths, this beautiful city has been luring visitors to its healing waters for more than 2,000 years. Gushing from 3 hot springs, the water known to consist of 43 different minerals. Hence, its curative properties travels upwards some 3,048 meters at a rate of 275,000 gallons per day, before spilling out at a consistent 46.5 degrees Celsius. It's a truly awesome sight, and also a little eerie to think that you're standing just feet away from the very hot springs that Romans and early Britons enjoyed some 2,000 years before you got here. While it's not possible to bathe in the original Roman baths, try it and you'll be arrested. A number of nearby spas, most notably the modern Thermobath Spa, offer a unique opportunity to enjoy the city's famous waters. Hadrian's Wall is one of the country's most dramatic Roman ruins. Its 2,000-year-old procession of abandoned forts, garrisons, towers, and mel castles marching across the wild and lonely landscape of northern England. This wall was about defense and control, but this edge of empire barrier also symbolized the boundary of civilized order. To the north lay the unruly land of the marauding Celts, while to the south was the Roman world of orderly tax-paying, underfloor heating, and bathrooms. Near Newcastle, you can visit Segedunum, the wall's last stronghold, for an insight into life during Roman times. The East Sussex seaside city of Brighton and Hove is known for being quirky, bohemian, and artsy. It's without a doubt one of the best places to visit in England, and it's even a strong contender for the best places to visit in the UK. On the seafront, you will find Brighton Palace Pier, an iconic part of the skyline. One of the city's main tourist attractions, the Victorian Pier, is the first thing most people think of when they hear Brighton. A trip to Brighton wouldn't be complete without spending time on its famous beach. Pebbly rather than sandy, you can have a go at water sports such as stand-up paddleboarding and windsurfing, or simply relax in the glorious sunshine. It's worth noting that on warm weekends and holidays, Brighton Beach attracts sizable crowds from London and other inland locations, so head further along the coast to find a quieter spot or visit on a weekday. The winter is a lovely time to stroll along the seafront because the beach is virtually empty and the sunset colors add plenty of atmosphere. One of the planet's oldest World Heritage sites, Stonehenge has been a place of pilgrimage for more than 4,500 years. It was believed to have been erected as a place of worship, but these days the crowds consist of tourists drawn by the sheer scale of this magnificent monument to mankind's ingenuity. It's a sprawling site, covering an area of more than 20 square kilometers and boasting a state-of-the-art visitor center. Here, you can catch a fascinating glimpse not only into the construction of Stonehenge, but also its history since then. But it does get busy, so be sure to plan well ahead and purchase a timed ticket for the day of your visit. Covering almost 1,287 square kilometers of charming countryside, the beautiful Cotswolds is undoubtedly one of the most photographed corners of England. Its unrivaled pastoral scenery has earned it a reputation as one of the most beautiful places in the UK, ranking highly on many a traveler's bucket list. Easy to get to from London and close to the popular tourist attractions of Bath and Bristol, the Cotswolds includes some of the best parts of the counties of Oxfordshire, Gloucestershire, Somerset, Wiltshire, Warwickshire, and Worcestershire. Include the idyllic village of Bourton-on-the-Water on your Cotswolds itinerary. Nicknamed the Venice of the Cotswolds, this popular vacation spot boasts a charming river setting and countless well-preserved cottages, some dating back to the 15th century and all just begging to be photographed. Located in the northeast of England, not far from the border with Scotland, the spectacular Lake District in Cumbria covers an area of 1,448 square kilometers. Not only is it considered one of the most magical places to visit in the UK for its beautiful scenery, its reputation as a place of romance and great culture will forever be associated with its most famous former resident, Beatrix Potter. It was Potter who, in fact, led the way with the conservation efforts that have preserved so much of the Lake District when she bequeathed her estate to the National Trust. Her one-time home near Surrey, Hilltop, can and should be visited for its exhibits and artifacts. One of northern England's most popular tourist destinations, the medieval city of York, long the ecclesiastical capital of the Church of England, boasts one of the country's most magnificent cathedrals. The country's largest medieval church, York Minster, can trace its roots back to the spread of Christianity in the 3rd century, although the splendid present Gothic structure was built almost 1,000 years later. One of the best ways to get to see this historic landmark is via an official guided tour. We recommend you book in advance and spend a little time reviewing the available choices to find one best suited to your interests. Other highlights of a visit to York Minster include seeing its spectacular 14th century stained glass windows, plus the richly decorated interiors of the choir and north transept. You'll also want to visit the crypt, which contains parts of the original 11th century church the cathedral now stands on. Another York landmark worth exploring is the historic city walls. Not only is it good exercise, but it's also a fun way to circle around the old medieval city center without the crowds. Despite the fact that the legends of mythical monsters have largely been debunked, spectacular Loch Ness remains an extremely popular tourist attraction for travelers heading to Scotland. You will be rewarded with seeing some of the UK's most beautiful scenery. Highlights of Loch Ness include the ruins of Urquhart Castle. Set overlooking the loch, it's one of Scotland's largest fortifications, with a current structure dating from the 14th century. The Loch Ness Centre and Exhibition recounts its history, along with that of its monster, including details of ongoing searches for the elusive creature. It's sometimes a little too easy to forget that the UK includes a tiny little piece of Ireland. Northern Ireland, consisting of the northeast corner of the Emerald Isle, can easily be included on a trip to either country, and is well worth taking the time to explore. Our favorite among the many Northern Ireland attractions worth visiting is the magnificent Giant's Causeway, a stunningly beautiful natural feature that looks anything but natural. Just a short drive from the capital of Belfast, this UNESCO World Heritage Site is made up of unusual columns of layered basalt that jet upwards out of the sea and shoreline like some giant staircase, hence their name. All told, there are some 4,000 of these polygonal-shaped steps to see and clamber over. Formed over 60 million years ago during a period of intense volcanic activity, it's a truly impressive sight. Liverpool, under 3 hours away from London by rail, offers plenty of cultural excitement for the curious traveler. It's also well known for its role in giving rise to the English music legacy, not least because of its association with the Beatles. Music fans are drawn here first and foremost for Fab Four-related attractions, such as the Beatles story located in the renovated Albert Docks area. Other great reasons to visit Liverpool include its many historic buildings, lovely gardens, and parks, as well as great museums such as the Merseyside Maritime Museum, the Museum of Liverpool, and world-class art galleries like the Walker Art Gallery and the Tate Gallery. These are all located in the city's revitalized Royal Albert Dock area, an historic area enjoyed exploring on foot.